AEW Dynamite starts off with Will Ospreay, Mark Davis, Powerhouse Hobb, and Ricochet versus the Don Callis family with Kyle Fletcher, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and Konosuke Takeshita. Towards the end of the match, Will Ospreay was going for the hidden blade on Kyle Fletcher, but Kyle Fletcher ends up pulling Mark Davis, which allowed Will Ospreay to accidentally hit Mark Davis, which ends up allowing the heels to pick up the victory. Not gonna speak too much on this match. Nothing really happened after the match. Don't really know why this match happened. Well, I know why this match happened. I'm just saying the story didn't really progress or really move forward with this match. So I don't really understand why we needed this match. To be honest, you could have just had another Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher promo that led into a brawl if this was going to be the match. But overall, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens at Full Gear for the match, but overall, I just don't see the point of having this match. The match was decent, though. It was a solid match overall. Then we end up getting Adam Cole. He ends up cutting a promo. He ends up mentioning MJF, and then you end up getting Kyle O'Reilly come out. And then he starts saying that he wants Adam Cole to end his feud with MJF because he don't want anybody to get hurt and that they're friends and all of that. And this is so stupid. I don't understand this because last week he ended up making a save to Adam Cole in Undisputed Kingdom, but he didn't want to shake their hand. But now this week he's saying that they're friends and that he wants to protect him. Like what? Like I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get Tony Khan's booking. This makes no sense. How do you go from not wanting to shake their hand, but you want to be protecting them in your work? I don't understand this. Like, are you with them or are you not? Are you friends or are you still mad? Which one is it, bro? Like, Tony Khan, make up your mind. The way we got here doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that last week he didn't want nothing to do with them, but he made the save anyway. I ignored it because I thought that maybe he'll slowly build this, but nope. But then this week, all of a sudden, he's saying that they're friends and that they look at I don't get it. I don't get the point of the segment. This segment could have been cut as well because this also didn't progress anything. I don't understand why this was even here. Yeah, this was just tonight's episode is going to be a bashing session. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be very critical of this episode because this was one of the worst episodes I've seen of Dynamite since I've been watching. This show was just bad. This was a bad way to go home show for Fuller. This was just bad. This made no sense at all. Then shortly after, we end up getting another dumb thing on tonight's show. Orange Cassidy. He ended up having a segment where basically he ends up saying that he wants to fight Jon Moxley alone and he has to do it alone. Why does he have to do it alone? I don't know why he has to do it alone. There's no reason for him to do it alone. Like, it makes no sense. No sense at all. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I get it that baby faces are typically want to do the right thing, but this makes we already knew Jon Moxley. We already know Jon Moxley is going to win at Full Gear, but this makes it even more predictable. Like, you already know that you're going to be outnumbered 5-1. If I'm not Moxley, Yuta, Claudio, yeah, 5-1. You're already going. So you're going to do this by yourself, 5-1. No, like, we can't be serious. Like, then the main event made even less. Like, oh my god, like, this show is just, bro, like. And typically I try to find positives. I always say, let's see how the story plays out. Let's see. But man, they are just making it worse and worse week by week by week. Because no, like, there's no, this makes no sense. I don't know how anyone could defend this. Like, this was just stupid. Like, why? Like, seriously? You have to do this by yourself. Why? There's no logic behind why he has to do it by himself. Like, it makes no sense. Like, and then afterwards, we end up getting Mercedes Moné. We get a terrible promo from her. Good thing it was short. This happened after Chris Statlander had a match with Hikaru Shida. We didn't need to see that match. I didn't even watch that match. I don't know if it's good. You guys let me know. I didn't watch that match because there was no reason to watch it because it was obvious that Chris was going to win. She's not losing before her match at Full Gear. But then afterwards, basically, she ends up telling Camille to attack, even though Camille is playing an injury angle. She ends up getting destroyed, which allowed Mercedes Moné to try to attack, but Chris Statlander ends up overpowering her and ends up defeating her. Man, I'm going to be honest. Tonight's episode just felt like things was just thrown here just to fill up time because a lot of the things that happen on this show didn't need to happen. Like, Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. I love both women, but this didn't need to happen. You could have had this same outcome without a match. You could have had this same thing happen if you just had Mercedes or Chris Statlander cut a promo in the ring, one of them come out. You could have had the same thing happen. There was no need for this. Like, oh my God, this show is getting more and more painful to watch, man. It really is. Then there was another segment. Bobby Lashley had his first, well, not even a segment, well, this leads into a segment. Bobby Lashley had his first match on Dynamite, which was stupid. Why? It's not that big of a deal, but why did he have his first match against jobbers? You could have just had his first match been against Swerve. Like, you really couldn't wait a couple more days, Tony Khan, for him to finally debut in the ring? Like, really? And it was against jobbers. Why do we need Bobby Lashley in a handicap match against jobbers? Like, what does this do for Bobby Lashley? It doesn't make him look dominant. We already know he was, like, come on. If you want to make, like, come on. If you want to make them look dominant, how about they look dominant against actual top talent, not jobbers? Like, really, my God? Like, we can't be serious right now. Like, come on. Same thing. They did this to promote Swerve attacking Bobby, but you could have had this same thing happen. All you needed to do was just have them come out, cut a promo. Prince Nana comes out with the steel chair like he did. That distracts him, which allowed... You could have done the same thing. This would have had the same outcome. Nothing would have changed. Like, we cannot be serious right now. Like, why? Like we can't... Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't understand what they're doing here. The only good thing about this show was arguably the Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia segment, but even that was a little awkward, weird. Because on Collision, they end up basically kidnapping Jack Perry, and then out of nowhere, it was a moment where Daniel Garcia looked like he was about to attack Jack Perry with like a wrench or something. I don't know what he had in his... I think it was a crowbar, if I'm not... But then he ends up just smashing his truck, and they end up leaving, which was a bit awkward. So, and they didn't explain why he did that. Like, so I was confused about that. But this show just has so many question marks and so many things that just, one, just don't make sense, and two, was just boring, dull, no story progression at all. It's just ridiculous. I just don't understand. Then we had a terrible segment with Chris Jericho. They was doing a contract signing. Chris Jericho, of course, refused to sign it. Then we had this thing where Ishii is following Chris Jericho. Like, Chris Jericho is walking, and Ishii is just following him, walking behind him. He's walking, and they keep doing... They drag this out for like 3 to 4 minutes of him just being followed by Ishii for whatever reason. And then they ended off with them brawling, the conglomeration, whatever that faction is called. I can't even pronounce the name because this show is just that bad. They come out, brawl, the learning tree, they end up brawling, and then conglomeration ends up standing. Like, why? Did we really need that entire segment just for them to brawl? And, like, you could have just, like, oh my God, like, so many things could have just been simplified. But no, they do all of this extra stuff that is so unnecessary. Then we end up getting the main event, Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta. Why is this the main event, first of all? Number two, Orange Cassidy wins by a roll-up pin against Wheeler Yuta, which was stupid because if you're barely beating Wheeler Yuta, you're not beating Jon Moxley. Then number two, Jon Moxley and them, of course, ends up attacking him. But the way they did this was so dumb and so weird because, for one, they end up duct taping him. They end up tying him up with duct tape. But then all they did was just slap him. They didn't do anything that, like, vicious. All they did was slap him. That's it. And then the commentary is gassing this up, making it seem like it's some big deal. No one comes out to help because due to Orange Cassidy telling them not to help. But all they did was slap him. They didn't do a power driver, nothing. All they did was just slap him. That's all they did. They just slapped him like 3 times, walked out. That's it. And then all of a sudden, Orange Cassidy ends up eventually getting out due to, the conglomeration ends up coming out, releasing him from the duct tape or whatever. And then he ends up doing his signature thing where he puts his hands in his pocket. And then Jon Moxley has this angry look on his face like, what are you mad about? You didn't do anything. You didn't attack him. Like, am I missing something here? Like, it was so weird. Like, all of a sudden, he's just, like, confused and mad that Orange Cassidy is, like, standing up tall or whatever. It's like, you didn't do anything. All you did was slap him. Like, this show was bad. This show was terrible. Like, this is probably the worst Dynamite I ever seen. Maybe I'm forgetting some Dynamites, but this is one of the worst shows I've seen all year. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, Full Gear is probably going to be a great show. That's simply what they do. But man, the weekly shows have been bad. But you guys let me know if I'm tripping. You guys let me know your opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it. Cause I can't speak about this show anymore, man. But that's it.